Zynga achieved highest ever quarterly revenue and bookings, best operating cash flow in 8 years. Is that all driven by the pandemic?
Well, it's certainly had a major impact, but if you look at our growth rate before everyone started sheltering in place, we were running at a pretty good clip. But as the world took measures to protect themselves and shelter at home, frankly, when you're social distancing and you can't be with someone, the next best thing to do is to play a game with them. And so we saw huge jumps in engagement, audience, and frankly, it was really amazing to see was the socialization that was happening in games. We had some products that saw a 400% increase in chatting, gifting, and sharing. So, games are really starting to become their own social networks. It's a really exciting time for us from the standpoint of keeping up with demand. Our teams have all transitioned to a work from home environment. And fortunately, we haven't missed a beat there. The teams have really kept up with the pace required.
So, what does this all mean for your outlook for the coming quarter and the rest of the year, given that it looks like lockdowns are going to continue? We're still in quarantine. I'm still doing the show from home. Is that more good times for you?
Well, I think the issue for us is as we look into the second half, there's a lot of economic dislocation. There's the potential for more shelter in place orders and how COVID operates. What's positive for our company is that we make free to play mobile games, which are very resilient in tough times. And frankly, the work that we do has never been more important. The fact that we get to entertain people while times are tough is just our small part in trying to make things better. But as you look into the second half, we felt confident enough in the business to actually raise the year. We started the year with a guide of around 1.75 billion, and now we're guiding to achieve 2.2 billion for the full year. So we're feeling good about our trends.
Now, my kids are doing some more gaming. They're still quite young, but they are, as a result of the times, that is what they are enjoying. What is some advice for parents about how we can make this time productive? Because we want the games to be more than entertaining. We want them to actually be learning and their brains to be developing. And I wonder how games can be part of that and how we prevent things like addiction from happening.
Well, look, moderation is the key. It's somewhat ironic at times at home with my 3 teenagers when their dad tells them to stop playing games, and that's my living. But it is really keeping everything in balance. And what's great about now is that there's so many multiplayer games and games that are very social. It's a great way for kids to hang out and keep that social development going, whether it's in Roblox or in Words with Friends or any number of the games out there. The ability for them to get onto a game, to play together, to communicate, to keep each other up to date, and frankly, to have some fun, that in moderation, that can be a really healthy thing.
Google and Apple have been working to increase their position in the gaming industry, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on that, given the antitrust scrutiny.
Well, look, I think if you look at mobile specifically, it's Android and Apple have created an amazing platform that's just reaching over 2.5 billion customers worldwide, and they handle a lot of infrastructure issues like billing and connection and other things. At the same time, they are starting to build out some of their services as it relates to subscription games and things like that. And while it is sometimes disconcerting to see your platform partner create a game to compete against, I do think it keeps the ecosystem healthy, having that level of competition. We really focus in on bringing the best games to bear for our players, and competition keeps you sharp, and it keeps more choice available for players. So we work with Apple and Google in a very productive way. It's a very collaborative relationship. They ask a lot of questions of their developers in terms of things that are working or not working, and we try and improve the overall ecosystem so we can both win together.
What about other platforms like TikTok for expansion? Are you looking at TikTok in the midst of the controversy?
Not TikTok specifically, but this quarter we did extend our partnership with Snap. We launched another game there, and we'll be launching more games in the future. And we actually launched our first Amazon Alexa game called Letter Pop. It's a purely verbal game that you can play at home with Alexa. So we are experimenting on other platforms, really if you look at the overall gaming business over the last few years and how it's grown, it's all about new platforms and reaching new players. So we're excited to see a lot of new things coming on in the future, like new AR platforms, more chat based platforms like Snap. And if TikTok gets into a position where it understands its future better, perhaps it could be a gaming platform as well.
You also just acquired a Turkish gaming company, Rollic, in the ultra casual game space. What are ultra casual games, and why do you want to expand there? Sounds like those could be more my speed.
Yeah, they're they're called hyper casual, ultra casual. They really are basically universal ideas that appeal to the mass market. It's like untying a knot or doing some kind of little puzzle. They're instantly playable. They're usually driven by the advertising business model, so they're very accessible to people, and they don't last for very long. You play them in short bursts and short sessions. But what they do is generate massive audiences. Rollic is an Istanbul-based company that has had over 250 million installations of its games. It produces some number one and number two hyper casual games on the App Store. And in fact, their total audience base is 63 million MAUs, which adds nicely to Zynga's base network. So when we see what they build and how it fits with what we build, there's a really nice connection between the two. They can acquire users very cheaply for us in terms of how people come into the games. We can expose them to other games like Empires and Puzzles, Merge Dragons, and Words with Friends. So as we look at this next chapter of growth for our company and frankly for the mobile industry, audience scale and a scalable network is going to be increasingly important.